Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Helix. Today we're jumping into our deck tech, and it's going to be Azorius Control. Blue-White is back, and we're happy of it, so let's get started. First up, Azorius Charm provides us with a lot of utility, either bouncing a creature on top, wasting an opponent's draw step, gaining you life, which is a surprise attack that has worked very many times for me, or just drawing you a card, because sometimes tempo is all that there is. Supreme Verdict, making way for your bigger plays, and also saving you ample time. It's important to make sure that you can curve out to this on turn 4. Detention Sphere is also in here to deal with many things that aren't necessarily creatures, but for creatures that have a tendency with the problem of dying, Detention Sphere is in there too, such as the new God cards, which are indestructible, which gets around a lot of the removals surprisingly in this deck. But Detention Sphere is there for you, and he's also very good at dealing with Planeswalkers as well. To make up for the slowness of Detention Sphere, Sphinx's Revelation allows us ample time in order to draw cards and gain life. This card, in tangent with the others, which are +1s or 1-for-1s, is going to get you all your card advantage in this deck, outside of Jace and the lowly Divination. One of the hardest cards for this deck to deal with is Fleecemane Lion. Fleecemane Lion has Indestructible and Hexproof 1 Monstrous. For a 2-drop, that's a 3/3 already, that's pretty good. And with the Monstrous only being 5 mana, your opponent can easily leave that 5 mana up. Thankfully, M14 provided us with Celestial Flare, which gives us the ability to deal with pesky creatures like Fleecemane Lion, or Dragon, or Hydra, or any of these other cards that can be hard to deal with if it needs to be targeted by a blue or white spell. Middleman Jace, which is exactly where you want him between your Supreme Verdicts and your Sphinx's Revelation, gives you, although ample card draw, it also provides you with a wall that can hit the field and just take control of the situation. Now let's get to counterspells. I prefer 3 Syncopate and 2 Dissolve, because the 3 Syncopate on turn 2 can be very useful, and the difference between a 2 casting counterspell and a 3 casting counterspell can be more than you can imagine, and that tempo is also very valuable as well. The Control Deck's go-to finisher. He deals with Planeswalkers with ease, and is almost impossible to kill if you're playing against a good control player. This, in tandem with other cards in this deck, which allows you to get rid of your opponent's hard-to-deal-with resources, is the way that this deck wins games. Speaking of winning games, Elspeth stops your opponents in their track. As it blows up their field, it then starts spitting out 1/1s like no one's business. This, at 6 mana, makes it hard to see it anywhere else but Standard, but while it's here, it's a force to be reckoned with. Divination is in here because it allows you to curve out into Supreme Verdict with relative ease, but it does not leave counterspell mana open. Essence Scatter is in here for the same reason that the 3 Syncopates are in here, but having 4 extra pay counterspells isn't what we necessarily want in a deck like this, trying to 1-for-1 your opponent, but trying to keep up mana enough in the late game. So Essence Scatter gives us that late game potential, but yet early gratification of turn 2, and it's well worth the slot of 1 in this deck. Might seem a little obscure at a 1-of as our last card, but if it is unexpected, it can be one of the most powerful kill spells in this deck, and it's one that you'll be thankful for in those tight scenarios when you're having to deal with a Voice of Reassurance or just a pesky red deck with its ample of creatures. Last, but certainly not least, is our mana base, which is the main reason that we are only running 2 colors. It's supported by Azorius Guildgate, Hallowed Fountain, 8 Plains, and 8 Islands, along with 2 Mutavault to deal with some interesting plays and also protect your Jace and Elspeth in those situations where it's required. But the gates are not appreciated right now, but until the Skylands come out, assumingly in February, we're stuck with them and we're happy with them, as they provide us with the mana we need, although it's a little slow. Well, that was the Helix this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, Jesus loves you.